The Setup page of Tournament Manager contains the basic information for your event. You can view and change the name of your event. You can set the number of rounds. The number of rounds should be set to the maximum number of rounds that any division plays. The semifinals and finals options are only used if you have a cut in the field size for the last rounds. The playoff function will allow players to compete in a playoff for first place at the end of their round and record their scores on digital scorecard. Enable digital scorecard to give your players the ability to keep score on the PDGA digital scorecard. Enter an access code that's not too easy to guess and send it to your players in the pre-event email or at the players meeting. You can send messages to your players when they are using digital scorecard. You can send info, alert, or emergency messages. When you send an info message, it will appear as a message bar on digital scorecard. When the players click on it, it will hide the message, but it's still available in the menu and the bell icon. An alert message will show up as a yellow bar on digital scorecard. Players can hide the message by clicking on it, and it will remain accessible in the bell icon. An emergency message will bring up a red message box and display the message in a red message bar. The players cannot dismiss the message bar. You should delete messages when you no longer need them. Deleted messages will be removed from the player's digital scorecard. The Players section of Tournament Manager shows you the roster of players who have registered for your event. This page lists all the players separated by division with their PDGA number, class, rating, and location. Class, rating, and location are pulled from the PDGA membership database, so they will not be available for players who register without a PDGA number. Phone numbers and email addresses are only shown if you use Disc Golf Scene for your tournament registration and collected this information from the players when they signed up. The Member Lookup function can be useful to find any member's class, current rating, membership status, and rules official status. If you need to add a player to your event, click Add Player, fill out the information, and click Add. To edit an existing player's division or PDGA number, click on the field you wish to change, make the edit, and click Save. To delete a player, click Remove and then click Save. Deleting a player cannot be undone, and if they have any scores entered, this will permanently delete the scores too. Tournament Manager will alert you to ineligible players in your event. Players can be ineligible due to rating, age, or gender. In this example, the player is a professional class player with a rating above 970, but is illegally registered for an amateur division. You can move the player to a legal division and the error will be resolved. This player is illegally registered for an age-based division. Tournament Manager shows an error icon in the age column. You can move the player to a legal division to resolve the error. Tournament Manager compares the names the players registered with to their names in the PDGA membership database. This player registered with a nickname. The quickest way to resolve this warning is to delete the incorrect name and let Tournament Manager autofill it with the correct name. In the Layouts section of Tournament Manager, click the Add Course Layout button and then select your course from the drop-down menu. Give the layout a name and click Add Layout. and then enter the hole information and hole notes for each hole. When your players are using Digital Scorecard, they will see the distance, par, tee, target, and notes that you have provided in this section of Tournament Manager. You can copy the information from a previous tournament on this course. This saves you some time so you don't have to type in all the whole information, but be aware that the old information might not be what you want. You should still do a thorough review of the imported information to make sure it matches the layouts you're using. One of the biggest problems we see for players is not having accurate hole notes. Make sure the rules for OBs, Mandos, etc. actually match what you'll be playing. It might be wise to directly copy and paste each hole between Tournament Manager and your caddy book if you're printing or emailing caddy book to your players. After you have created all of your layouts, you will need to assign them to your divisions. Every division in the event that has players will need a layout for each round. Give your layouts a unique and identifiable name. The layout name is what will be shown on the PDGA results page, so if you're using the same layout name for different courses, the players could be confused about where they're playing. If this is not a permanent course listed in the PDGA course directory, you can use the temporary course setting for this layout. Additionally, you can enter custom hole numbers if necessary. You can change the hole labels to different numbers or letters to suit your needs. You can use the Tournament Central interface to make a copy of a layout. Once you make a copy, you can make changes to the name or hole information. For our first example, let's create groups using tee times. In Tournament Manager, select the proper round and layout. Then select tee times, the start time for the first group, and the interval between groups. Tournament Manager will create groups for you, and you can edit them if you want. In this example, let's insert a few gaps into the tee times to give our starter a break and to split some of the divisions apart. When you are satisfied with your groups, you can publish them to the PDGA event page. On the event page, you can see the layout name and the start time for each player. In this next example, let's use a shotgun start. Select holes and enter the start time for the round. Tournament Manager will create the groups. Depending on how many players are in each division, you might have to rearrange some of the players. When you are satisfied with your groups, you can publish them on the PDGA event page. On the event page, we can see the layout name, starting hole, and start time for each player. When you're creating groups, you can modify the groups by moving individual players, moving entire cards, or adding empty cards. If you're using tee times, you can manually adjust the start time for any particular group by double-clicking the header bar and typing a new time. When you change a tee time, notice how all of the groups following that group are also changed by the same amount. Groups can be assigned from either Tournament Manager or Tournament Central. Tournament Manager assigns groups one layout at a time. If you have multiple layouts of the same course being used at the same time, this requires you to remember which holes or tee times you've already put players in when you assign the next layout. Tournament Central assigns groups one course at a time. If you have multiple layouts on the same course being used at the same time, Tournament Central will assign all of the layouts at the same time. If you're running a doubles or teams tournament, you should use the Tournament Central interface for creating groups. The Tournament Central interface will keep the teams paired together, and you can move teams to different cards just like you can for single players. The check-in feature of Tournament Central helps you keep track of which players have checked in before the tournament begins. For this event, we currently have 70 players not checked in and 0 players checked in. Checking in a player moves them to the checked in column. While you're checking someone in, you can see their registration information. If the player registered on Disc Golf Scene, any additional items or options they've selected will also be displayed. You can also edit their name, PDGA number, or division while you're checking them in. You can cancel a check-in, and that player will be moved back to the Not Checked In column. Check-in integrates well with groups in Tournament Central. Create groups and save as draft before checking in any players to your tournament. Then proceed to player check-in. If you have some players who have not checked in, their names will be highlighted in groups. You can either remove the players from your event or adjust your draft groups to make sure you don't have multiple unchecked in players in the same group.